Hi, today my topic is parasitic influences of leeches to fishes. And showing first one is the classification of leeches. Actually, leeches are coming under the phylum Annelida. The class is Hirudinea. The order of leech is Rhynchoptella. And finally, it is coming under the family Piscicolidae. Now, I am going to different characteristic of leeches. Leeches, the first point, they are ectoparasites. Ectoparasite in the sense they are normally found in the external body surface of the organism, especially to the fishes. If you are searching this particular parasite, you can find this particular parasite in the external body surface like skin, scales, operculum, something like that. So it is always an ectoparasite found outside the body of the host. Second point, it is sanguivorous feeding habit. Sanguivorous feeding habit in the sense the food material for the leeches is always the blood. Blood from the host is the food material. So they will be sucking blood from the host. If the host is fish, they will be obviously sucking the blood from the fish body. And like that, that is the feeding habit of the leeches. And third point is temporary or intermittent parasite. The leeches are the parasitism can be classified into mainly into two different parasitism. One is obligate parasites and the other one is a facultative of a temporary parasite. As far as the leeches are concerned, they are facultative parasite or temporary parasite, or it can be called as intermittent parasite in especially in aquatic organism like fishes. That means they are never attaching, never leading a permanent life in the body of the fish. Whenever they need blood, they will be attaching to the body of the fish. The remaining time they will be leading a free independent life. So that is a habit of this particular leeches. Next point, the body of the leeches are normally bilaterally symmetrical body. That means the body can cut into two equal halves when we are cutting through the central axis. So that particular body arrangement of leech is known as bilaterally symmetrical arrangement. So leech is very good example for a bilaterally symmetrical arrangement body organism. Next characteristic regarding the leeches, the body of the leeches is also another one characteristic. It is a dorsoventrally flattened body. So this particular dorsoventrally flattened body having their own adaptation because when they are attaching to the fish body, they are getting a firm attachment with this particular body arrangement rather than a cylindrical body. So, as a parasite, this body shape will be helping the parasite to lead a successful parasitic life. Then metameric body. Normally, the leeches having different body segments. So, the different body segments are normally called metameres, and the body arrangement is known as metameric body. Then they are mainly freshwater, some are marine, and other inhabit in damp terrestrial habitat. So this is a habitat with respect to the leeches. Mainly leeches are found in freshwater habitat, but some are seen in marine habitat also, but some other are remaining, other are also found in damp terrestrial or land habitat. So that is with respect to the habitat of the leeches. Only about 25% of the leech are parasitic. So that is another one important thing. Not all the leeches are parasitic, but only very certain group, that is only comprising 25% of the leeches are parasitic. Remaining the leeches are non-parasitic life. You can see very clearly a leech has been attached to the body of the fish. So this I have already told you the leeches are ectoparasites and they will be always attaching to the body of the fish. The external body surface is the main region of attachment for the leeches. And coming to the parasitic adaptation of leeches. The first point is that two suckers are present in leech. The suckers are commonly called, one is anterior sucker, the other one is the posterior sucker. So these two suckers are using by the leeches for their attachment with the host body. Second point, alimentary canal is provided with chambers called lateral cecum or crop for storing blood. So I have already told you that the feeding habit of leech are sanguivorous, that is blood sucking habit. So in order to store a large quantity of blood, they are having specialized organ in their body called lateral cecum or crop diverticula. So that is another one parasitic adaptation of leech, in which they are storing large quantities of blood. Next one, anticoagulant known as hirudin is present. So that is a advantage of hirudin is that it is an anticoagulant. Anticoagulant in the sense the hirudin will be preventing the blood clotting. So when the leeches are feeding blood from the fish, for example, the blood has a characteristic of clotting. So this clotting will be avoided by the presence of hirudin. So this hirudin presence of hirudin will be a parasitic adaptation of leech, which will prevent blood clotting during feeding. Next one, the two important species for leeches. The one is Pisicola species, the other one is Plaque species. Now you can see the internal body structure or anatomy of leech. In this particular diagram, you can clearly see the crop diverticula in which they are storing large quantities of blood. So they are having the blood feeding habit. So they are storing the blood in crop diverticula. So that is a parasitic adaptation, which I have already told you. And you can see another one is that there is a sucker is present. This is a posterior sucker, and also one anterior sucker is also present in leeches. So two suckers are present in leeches, and obviously these two suckers are used for attachment with the host body. Coming to the examples of leeches. The first example for leech is Pisicola species. It is actually, this Pisicola species is their host will be a fish. The first point is that the body of Pisicola species is elongated and cylindrical and also somewhat flattened. So that is the body shape of Pisicola species. The second one, anterior part of the body is slightly narrower than posterior. So when you are looking into the body, the anterior part of the body will be narrower than the posterior part of the body. Then the third point, anterior and posterior suckers are present. So anterior and posterior suckers in leeches, they are using for, definitely they are using for attachment with the host body. The next one, mainly noted in marine fish, but few species are found in freshwater fish species. So this particular Pisicola species are mainly found from marine fish species rather than freshwater fish species. The species, the last point, the species causing a disease called piscicolosis in fishes. So when the number of Pisicola is more in a particular fish, they are causing a disease called piscicolosis in fishes. Coming to the next example known as Plaque species, this is another one parasite in fish. Coming to the first point, body is flattened with narrow anterior and broad posterior end. So that is with respect to the body structure, just similar to the last example. Here the body is also, the anterior part is narrow, but coming to the posterior part, it will be broad. Now the second point is that the two suckers are present. The one is the anterior sucker, which is small in size. The second sucker is known as posterior sucker, which is somewhat larger than anterior. Now the third point, 2 to 4 pairs of eyes are present. So with respect to the eyes, they will be having 2 to 4 pairs with respect to the species. The fourth point occurs widely in freshwater fishes and also noted from aquatic birds, reptiles and mammals. So it has a vast distribution. This particular Placobdella species not only found in fishes but also it is present in reptiles, birds, the aquatic birds and even in amphibians this can be found. Now, coming to the pathogenicity of leeches. Pathogenicity means what are the after effects when a leech is infecting to fish. The first point is that abnormal mucus production from attachment area. So, when a leech is attaching to the body of the fish, the attachment site will be producing abnormal mucus production. So, that is a disorder by the attachment of the parasite. So that is the first particular pathogenicity symptom of leech attachment in fish body. The second one, extreme body irritation and restlessness. Actually, when an ectoparasite attaching to the body of the fish, naturally the body irritation will be there. The same thing will be happening here also. The fish will be shows the signs of irritation and restlessness. Third point, attempt to dislodge the parasite by rubbing against solid objects. Naturally, if the body irritation is there by the attachment of the parasite, normally the fish will do to dislodge the parasite. The fish will attempt to dislodge the parasite. So that will also a pathogenicity symptom shown by the fish. The last one, unsteady and erratic movement. Due to the attachment of the parasite, due to the extreme body irritation, the fish movement will not be steady. The fish shows unsteady and erratic high-speed movement due to the parasite attachments. Next symptom, hemorrhages from the attachment site. Hemorrhages meaning bleeding. Bleeding from the attachment site of the leech can be also noted. Then epithelial tissue damage. When the leech is attaching to the skin, obviously the epithelial cells of the skin will be damaging. Then coming to the third one, inflammation in dermis extending up to subdermal muscles. The dermal muscle will be inflammation can be noted, and that particular inflammation can be extending up to the subdermal muscles. That is another one symptom. Then induce anemia due to substantial loss of blood. So that is another one. I have already told you that the feeding habit of this particular parasite is blood. Due to the loss of blood, the host will be facing severe anemic conditions. What are the prophylaxis we have to take against the leech infection? The first prophylaxis is regular and periodical disinfection of pond. So the pond hygiene is very, very important. We have to care the pond and we have to clean the pond in regular intervals. Otherwise, the unhygienic activity of the pond, the unhygienic condition of the pond will be favor the reproduction of leeches. Second one, maintenance of suitable level of hygiene. That I have already told that the hygienic level importance. It is important that we have to keep a very good hygienic level always in the pond in order to remove the parasites. Now the third one, removal of hard vegetation, stones, logs from the ponds. So if there is hard vegetation in the pond, if there is presence of stones in the pond, if there is logs present in the pond, that must be removed, because all these materials will be serving as a suitable substratum for laying their eggs. So their multiplication will be very easy if these substances are present in the pond. So we have to remove all these materials. Fourth one, good filtration system prevent leech penetration into the pond. So we have to filter water before introducing into the pond. So that is another one important aspect, even though it is somewhat costly. Then fifth point, disinfection of pond with powdered lime at the rate 2500 to 3000 kg per hectare is spread in the dried pond bottom and flooded, then left for 7 to 10 days. So this is a remedy. We have to treat the pond with powdered lime in the specific concentration in order to remove the parasite. Then coming to the treatment, what are the treatment we have to use in order to remove the parasitic infection? The first one, you can use acetic acid in a concentration of 1000 ppm as a dip or bath treatment. It is very effective for removing leech infestation. Second one, potassium permanganate at the rate 10,000 ppm as a dip treatment can be also effective. Then also we can use DDT to eliminate leech, but DDT is toxic, so it can be used with very proper carefulness. Otherwise, the DDT will be toxic to the entire pond water. So, if no other methods are useful, then only the DDT can be opted. Otherwise, it will be create some problem. So, DDT will be the last choice. That is the actual thing. Then next one, copper sulfate can be also used for the treatment purpose. It can be used in the rate of 0.5 ppm as dip treatment, which will killing the leech. Lysol also can be used at the rate 2000 ppm as a dip treatment for a duration of 5 to 10 seconds. Then common salt or sodium chloride can be also used at a rate of 25,000 ppm as flush treatment, that also can kill the leech population. And coming to the biological control of fish can be done by using a predatory fish called Perca fluviatilis, which feed voraciously on leeches. So this is a method for biological control of leeches. So this particular fish, Perca fluviatilis, which will be feeding voraciously on leeches, their main food material is a leech. So we can introduce this particular fish as a biological controlling method. Thank you.